Hi everybody, today we're going to have a look at the interior of the 6.1 panel van. So we've got one behind us, which is you might have seen a few weeks ago. We used this one when we shot a whole line of them together when they first arrived to show you the different colours and things. This colour, the Ravenna Blue, was definitely probably the most popular colour. So I thought I'd use this one today to show you how the dash is. So this is for the panel van. This model is the Highline model. We'll probably do another video and show you what it looks like in the start line model when we get one. Haven't actually got a 6.1 start line yet on site. We've just got the Highlines that have arrived. So let's get into it. Let's show you. So first thing I will point out to you, obviously with the dashboard, is now we've got these grey interior door cards, which is all one colour, where previously it was a bit lighter than this on the 6 model. You will notice some things that are quite similar as well, things like your lights panel. So the Highline's got automatic lights as standard on this, which is the Lights and Visions pack. As we move into the seating, seating wise, it's a dark seating with this fabric pattern over the top, which I quite like, that's there. And then obviously with your dash as well, all colour coded together in the grey. I think it looks really smart. So in the cockpit on here, we've got a driver's captain's chair, and then we've got the dual passenger seat, which is next to me. As in previous models as well, you've still got your storage underneath your dual passenger seat. I'll show you that in a minute, where you can get into from on there as well, because that's the ideal place where you want to put this, which is your handbook. As with the previous model as well, it doesn't actually go in the glove box, so best thing is throw it under the seat. In the main position from in here now, you will notice if you get to jump into one of these, everything's a lot more cocooned around the driver. So it's certainly everything's pointing towards you a little bit more, so it's a little bit angled more. So your stereo and your fascia panels are angled towards the driver, as is your gear stick here, and your heating controls as well. From a steering wheel perspective, new steering wheel, flat bottom. I believe the steering wheel is going to be very, very similar on the start line, but as I said, I haven't seen the start line yet, but we'll bring you those when it comes as well. So and plenty of extra buttons as well if you've got options on the vehicle and things like that as well. I mentioned about the Lights and Visions pack, which is standard on the Highline. We've got the ability to turn off the anti-skid, the ESP. You've got your controls for your electric windows, electric mirrors and central locking, which are on the top of the dash. Next to those on the side, we've got our indicators, again in the same position as they've always been, no different. Up and down, pull towards your windscreen, and your indicators on the other side. These are things which have been the same for quite a while on the Transporter, I think for ever and a day probably, and there's no change to those. Gear sticks, this one's a manual, obviously available in automatic as well. This is a 150 engine, so it's got the 6-speed gearbox that's with it as well, that's here, nice and easy to use from there. Above there is your heating controls, Highline model, so it has the air conditioning as standard. So you've got temperature control, your fan control, and where you want it to come out from, an air conditioning button and a recirculation button that's in there that just obviously then just keeps air from in the cab turning round again. Big button for your hazard lights, which is always good I think, so you can get to those quickly. Parking sensors, turn them on or off. They are engaged as soon as you put it into reverse, so if you put the vehicle into reverse, that turns your parking sensors on and it brings your screen on to show you where any obstacles might be. But if you were to drive into a space, you'd press the button and that would also activate the parking sensors as well, so you could see what was around you. And if some people don't like it necessarily, there is a button as well for your stop start, to turn the stop start function off as well. You do need to do that every time you get in the vehicle and start the vehicle. You need to put that on. So that's a brief description of the Highline dash. I'll move on to the steering wheel in a second. Just a few other points as well I'd like to make. So you've got cup holders in the top, got one here and one on the far side, and then you've got storage just in this top section here to put things in. I think you might find that quite useful if you are for delivering things, for example, and you've got clipboards and stuff you want to put into the dashboard. And there is as well a 12-volt socket, so you can give you power. I think that's quite handy for if you've got dash cams and things like that. You might have seen the videos with my vehicle in the past. My dash cam's usually mounted up just next to the rear view mirror, but you could on this vehicle, for example, mount your dash cam further down, and obviously you could plug it into your 12-volt socket which is on your dash. And then moving over, we've got a bit of storage up here, it's a bit of a tray, and then you're into your glove box. With it being the Highline model as well, it's got cool glove box function, another 12-volt socket on here, and USB, which is the USB-C type sockets, which are here onto your dashboard. But as you know, there's the information system itself, that's been upgraded on the 6.1. So on the stereo system on here is standard. You've got all your stereo channels, which is DAB, no different from on there. You've got media, which gives you your usual selection of choices. So from USB down at the bottom to Bluetooth audio via your phone, DAB and FM that's in there as well, an SD card as well, which is just down here at the bottom. You can only just see it because it's in black, but that's where you'd put an SD card in as well from on there. And then you've got your usual phone app, so you can connect your phone to the vehicle. Apps, which is with your Apple CarPlay or with MirrorLink or with Android Auto, depending on what phone that you've got that's in there. And you can connect those in via the USB plugs at the bottom as well that's there. Voice control, again, as an option that's there. A lot of these controls are moved onto the steering wheel, so when you are sat here driving, things are up at the touch of a button through active assist audio, telephone, data systems that's on there. You can move things up and down, so if you're in, for example, driving data, you could then move them up and down to go through your consumptions, your MPG figures and things like that. And then on the other side to this here is where you have your adaptive cruise, which is standard on the vehicle. We've recently done a video on that. We used the T6 model to do that video, but you will notice on here the buttons are near on identical, so there's not look a bit different, obviously new steering wheel, but what they do and how they work is no different. And you've got volume control on one side, on the left hand side, then on the right hand side you've got your track to be able to move your tracks up and down. So that's a brief overlay. Really like it in here. Not really had a chance, we haven't registered one yet. We're waiting for our demonstration models to arrive. They should be with us in the next week. We can actually get one on the road and we can do you a video about how it drives. I've had a quick run around the car park, and it's really good. That power steering, the new power steering function, really does give you a feel for the road. It feels a lot lighter to move the vehicle around as well. It's quite nimble, I think. But so the big thing for me is it just feels like the dash is more about the driver. Interested to know what you think. As always, pop some comments in the comments below and let us know what you think about the driving style of the vehicle. So with the dual passenger seat that's here, there's storage underneath as well. So that's the thing to put, for example, if you have ply lining in the back, the jack, which is located in the back, normally we'd take those out and we'd put it underneath here. So you just pull this bottom of the seat up here, and it gives you access to storage on either side. So as I said, this vehicle at the moment has not been ply lined. If it was, we'd put your jack and your tool brace in here that will go underneath this section, and as I said, another good place to hide your butt pack as well. And I know a lot of people out there that have these vehicles as well put other things in there as well, just to keep them nice and secure in the cab. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Just a look at the actual dash itself within the 6.1. So this is for the panel van, as I said. It will be slightly different to this in the California Caravelle and Shuttle, but as we get those models, we'll talk you through those and how they work. A couple of videos that are going to be coming up as we spoke about, so we'll look at the actual radio and stereo itself, how that works, how it works with App Connect, because that has changed, and a separate video on the We Connect system, which is Volkswagen's new app, which you might know, I think is around in the cars. So Volkswagen cars, I believe, already use this system that's there, but it's moving on to the commercial side as well, so we'll bring you a video on that as well. So I said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it informative, having a quick first look at the dash in a bit more detail, and we'll see you again soon.